three of the four hosts provide a refined and
Wait.
intellectual analysis.
Start the fuck over, Sean.
What's wrong? Start over. And is your eye okay?
Bro, we just talked about this.
Well, I didn't see it. I thought you were just making something up. Jesus Christ!
You
Sean.
looked at me, and it looks like I'm lame.
Oh, the movie ended. Oh, the way the movie ended. That's sad.
All right.
Oh my god. I just finished it.
You still look beautiful, actually.
All right, are we ready to go, motherfuckers?
I'm vengeance.
That was so fun. That was so fun.
Welcome back to another episode of Season 3 of 3.5 Gentlemen, the podcast, where three of the four hosts provide a refined and intellectual analysis of movies from our private collections, and one of us tries desperately to keep up. We'll let you decide which host is which, but for now, my name is Sean, and dancing through this episode with me, as always, are my co-hosts, Jeremiah.
City of Stars. Thank you for listening. 3.5 Gentlemen. Yo.
Eddie.
And here's to the fools who dream.
And Brandon.
I hate jazz. That's from the movie, and I also do hate jazz.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you mean you hate jazz?
I
Because
hate
you can't
jazz.
just you can't just make that broad statement.
You can't say that. You like chicken on the stick.
Emma fucking Stone hated jazz.
This season,
Hey,
each
I'm always
host
gonna love you.
I love you too.
This season, each host has picked a film from each decade, from the 70s to today, that exemplifies that time period. Some of the films have been underrated, some classics, while others have been overrated piles of cinematic crap. To finish off each decade, the hosts have a group pick that wraps up the decade in style. As with every review we give, our goal is to answer one simple question. How many drinks does it take to get through the film we've just watched? At the end of the podcast, we'll rate the movie based on a scale of 0 to 5, 0 being the perfect film that you can watch stone cold sober, and 5 being the sort of film that makes you want to robotically dance to and poorly sing through the streets of Los
I
Angeles.
swear to God,
Which
just
is
go ahead
nothing
and
wrong
give your
with that,
rating right
and
now.
it's
Was it
awesome.
7?
I know,
Is it 12?
seriously.
I mean, how many drinks did it take?
Hey, Sean, can I ask you
Oh.
something? Are we human or are we dancers?
Oh my God, the
Don't bring the
killers.
killers into this.
And Tim Burton directed that music video.
Don't bring my fourth favorite band in this, Jeremiah. Don't you do it. In addition to our review, we always pair our selection with a cocktail that we hope will enhance the viewing experience. This season, we want to focus a little bit more on the cocktail selection, so please feel free to shake, stir, or mix the cocktail
Sean
that we've chosen
is feeling it already.
and
I
settle
can
in
tell you.
for what we hope will be an engaging review.
No, he's reading this one eye.
No,
that's
that's
why.
what
it
He's
is. With
talking
that-
with one eye.
Why does
Like
he have
one
one
on
eye?
Willie.
With
One eye
that,
Willie.
With that,
what movie do we have looking through the Griffiths Observatory this evening, gentlemen?
Oh, that's
what's
cute.
fun is that there's 4 of us, but there's only 7 functioning eyes, so that's exciting. Can we get a snapshot of this just for the Instagrams?
It is actually.
Oh,
This is going to
perfect.
actually be saved
Hold
pretty
on.
soon.
Okay, well in that case,
So just wait, smile right now.
No, I need a better hair day for that to happen.
Eddie,
You need a better
Eddie,
eyeball,
Eddie,
bro.
give a Sean. Give a Sean. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Are you just
You're all
winking at me the whole
assholes.
time,
That's
the
all it is,
host?
too.
Yeah, you are.
Brandon, take us through the movie.
Ah,
Take us through the
tonight.
movie.
Softball with this.
Tonight.
It's softball the whole time.
Tonight we have our second entry into the 2010s films. As we close in on the end of season 3, host Eddie brings us 2016's most nominated film by the Academy and the mistaken Best Picture, which,
What?
by the way, was so funny when that happened. You remember when that happened?
Some would
What?
say it funny. Others would say it was horrible.
Oh, I
It
believe
didn't
it was
win?
hilarious.
Warren
didn't win.
Beatty, no, Moonlight won.
Moonlight won, yeah.
I know.
And I remember that time that Warren Beatty was an idiot.
Shame.
Anyway, yeah, Moonlight won. Musical. We're going to bring on La La Land. In the film, Sebastian, played by Ryan Gosling, and Mia, Emma Stone, are drawn together by their common desire to do what they love and to succeed in that. But as success mounts, they are faced with decisions that begin to fray the fragile fabric of their love affair. Great fucking alliteration right there. My
Alliteration.
God.
Fray the fabric of the
Oh
love affair.
man. And it also
Like that.
screws up their personal lives as they dream for I'm going to start
Jeez,
over.
Sean.
I'm going to start over because in the film
Yeah, it was not written poorly.
Oh,
He's
no.
read
I
poorly.
know,
That's
it was-
what's going on right
But
now.
you're very one-sided with this. It looks
in
like.
the film
No,
I haven't even started the damn timer. All right, let's try it again.
See, what you should do, Brandon, is you should read
I
it.
did
before
actually. That's
we
the
go
problem.
on
This is the
live so
first
that
fucking
you
time
don't-
I read it. That's the first time I've read it beforehand. Anyway, I'm just gonna
Probably
be,
should read
I'm
mine.
gonna be
Hold
natural.
on.
I'm gonna be natural. In the film, Sebastian,
La La
played by
Land.
the one, the only, the hot, fucking sexy Ryan Gosling,
Very sexy.
and
hot.
Mia, Emma Stone, who I just want to be.
Yeah.
Does anybody else just want to be friends with her? I just want to be best friends with her.
She seems really nice.
She does. They are
guess.
drawn together by their common desire to do what they love. But as success mounts, they are faced with decisions that begin to fray the fragile fabric of their love affair, and the dreams they work so hard to maintain in each other threaten to rip them apart. This Damien Chazelle directed film is
I
rated
got
an
the third
8.0 on IMDb, has a critic score of 91% and an audience score of 81% on Rotten Tomatoes. The underrated cast includes J.K. Simmons, Rosemary DeWitt, and let's get into their first impressions.
You don't like Finn? Well, you
I
don't want to add Finn
fucking hate-
Ritrock?
I stopped watching
Where's John
American
Legend?
Horror Story
So the
because
reason
of him.
there is no John Legend because I hate John Legend.
I
so he's
fucking
not,
hate.
He didn't make the
I hate Finn.
as
John
Horace
Legend's in this movie too,
as
guys.
Horace Slughorn would say. He didn't make the show.
Well, let me just go ahead and say, Jeremiah.
He had a larger part than Finn. Finn.
Yeah,
really
but
did.
when I'm
Why
in
not just
charge
say
of it,
J.K.
then-
Simmons and Rosemary? Yeah, J.K. Simmons has one scene, and then he
And it's
half
better
of,
than all of
and
John
half of his
Legend.
dialogue is literally quiet as he's over there firing Ryan Gosling in the corner. Yeah,
I do love that John Legend song.
Whatever. First impression,
Jeremiah, go.
Before we get into our cocktail selection, we need to talk about whose film this is, and additionally, what our initial impressions of this movie were before sitting down to watch it. Since this is my brother's film, he's going to start it. Eddie, what do you think
Eddie,
about
can
this
you
film?
be my brother too?
Yeah, I definitely can.
Okay.
But in reality, it's only my brother. Sorry. So we could be friends, but
I'll take that.
you know,
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Blah, brother.
Besties. You guys are besties.
Thanks.
So honestly, my review of my pre-review of this movie, right? I've never watched it.
What a
This
selection.
is probably the first time. This is probably the first time I've always wanted to watch it. I'm a fan of Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone movies, especially when they're together, and especially when when they're apart, and especially when they're together. I don't think they've done a movie together that has bombed, in my personal opinion.
We're just talking
I think
two.
any movie that
Crazy Stupid
never,
Love and this
never
one.
happened.
That's it.
Then Crazy Stupid Love didn't bomb. That's your
No.
opinion.
No,
and
it's a
been
great
No,
movie.
no,
No,
no.
I'm just saying.
No, they've only done
They've
two
only done
movies.
two. Like
No,
if you
you
could say that if they had
silly,
like five
sorry, guys.
movies done.
Silly boys. It was Gangster Squad. My goodness
Oh,
gracious.
that's
Thank you.
right.
Which
are we-
bomb, by the way?
Are you guys professionals, or is this your first time? Come on, tell me the
Who
show
picks
already.
a movie
Jeez.
that exemplifies a decade and hasn't seen it yet? Ed?
So I've always wanted to. So I'm the first. Am I not? Yeah. Okay. Why can't we change it up? Why can't we pick movies that we've never seen? Why does it be
the
all
best part of my week.
Basic? You're basic, Brandon. Stop being basic. So, anyways, I was excited to watch this movie. Heard great
Basic.
things about it, and I mean, who doesn't want to see Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone on the film?
I
We've
agree.
established that.
That's my opinion. I was excited for it.
You,
Sean, you're
you
next.
don't want to see
No,
it?
I was raising my
Oh,
hand.
I was like,
I don't want to see Ryan
I will
Gosling.
jump.
And I think
He's a hater, but because you do his hairstyle just like him. So.
no,
True.
no. I think Ryan Gosling is a very handsome man who has one look, and he has one look, and that's it. Anyway,
We all have one look.
It's puppy
I was
dog
very
in,
excited.
in the headlights, and I love it.
I was very excited to watch this movie. Like Eddie, I had never seen it before. I had heard I had heard so much about it, and it feels like from everyone talking it up to me, like I would have super loved the movie. It hits all the nostalgic points of like old time movies, Los Angeles, like all that kind of stuff. So I was really excited to sit down and watch it.
I
Jared?
swear to God, if you rated The Holiday higher than this one, oh, fuck you, Sean. God damn it. Jeremiah, just
My first impression, I remember seeing this movie, and I loved like 90% of it, but I thought the end was total bullshit. I mean, it was just like everyone was telling me, "No, it's great.
That's
It's
first impression. First impression.
it's real life,"
Keep
and
going.
I was just like, "No, fuck real life. I live real life. I am real life, and I'm all about the fake life." But I just saw this like a couple weeks ago with my fiance, and I have a whole nother different side to it. So I can't wait to talk about it.
Jeremiah, I wish that I could just put a squared on Jeremiah. I would, because I saw it in theaters when it came out. I loved 3/4 of it, and then the ending happened. I was just like, what the fuck did I just spend $9 on? And that was the most disappointing, sad thing I've ever seen. And I love sad things, but like that took it to a whole new level. and I hadn't seen it again since I watched it last week. And all I can say is that my life changed last week. And Sean and Ed, you need to see it twice. You need to see it twice to know what the hell's going to happen. And then all of a sudden, when you see it twice, Jer, am I right? It changes everything.
Yeah, a whole different.
You don't know how I feel
Completely.
about this.
All I'm going to say is this movie went from literally bottom of the barrel to way the hell high on my movies of all time list. Seriously. So the host, yeah.
Wow, that's bold.
Well, you know what? You like movies that don't have color. I like movies that have color.
Eddie, take us to the cocktail.
Oh, there's a lot of shots fired here early.
Shots fired.
Can we have a
hash
shot right now?
browns?
By the way, just before you start, Eddie, I'm just telling you, I have not revealed what I think about this movie yet.
You have
at all.
You wrote the script.
You're very preemptive. You're like Russia trying to get Ukraine.
Too
Stop.
soon. Too soon. Jesus.
So
Eddie, go ahead.
soon.
Little too soon right now with that one. As we mentioned earlier, with each movie, we try to pair the tone, feel, and overall impact of the story of a cocktail. This season, we have been really trying to make better connections with our cocktail selection. In any case, tonight's cocktail is LA Water. This collaborative cocktail is brimming with a variety of alcohols and mixes so that the end result is simple. You can't quite tell what's in it. This cocktail appropriately describes the tone of the film, showing both reverence to and complete mockery of what is to be an Angelino in the industry. At the end, you have what is a cocktail that is completely diluted by a diverse set of ingredients, which nonetheless produces a successful vessel for your drinking enjoyment. Making LA Water is very easy, though. You need vodka, tequila, gin, triple sec, rum, melon liqueur, sweet and sour, raspberry liqueur, blue curacao, and you take the glass and add ice. Then mix all the beverages and
It's like
LA Water.
trying to fucking get drunk here.
Garnish it with
equal
orange
parts
or
each?
cherries, like if it really matters. But that really,
Equal parts.
Holy mother of...
yeah, I think equal parts each. It's a
I'm
drink.
gonna
try it.
Vodka, tequila, gin. Are you
Yeah.
fucking
Sean,
kidding
how
me?
many
guys
did you
ready?
have before
So
Inglourious
this-
Bastards?
6.
Okay.
So here's the thing. But
Finish
here's
it
the
up.
thing. You take all of these wonderful alcohols. You have tequila. You've got gin. You've got vodka, and
Vodka.
yeah, you have all these
Triple
mixers.
sec, rum.
Yeah, just a bunch of stuff
You have all of
together. But you add all these unique things, and at the end, you have like a unique thing because you can't really tell what's in it.
Well, it's
It
a
just
stew.
tastes like
It's a stew.
deliciousness.
But it's green, meaning
I
LA
mean,
Water.
it's
That's
like
LA
you're gonna
Water.
go
So
on a trip to La La Land. That's pretty much what this drink is gonna make you fucking go.
For a complete
Dot means
recipe,
a lot.
please visit our website at the.gentleman podcast. I'm sorry, at the Gentleman Podcast, or look at our Instagram at the .gentleman at the .gentleman podcast because the dot means a lot.
And
I'm
so do
sorry,
the actual
Brandon
words
screwed me
around
up
the
there.
dot, too. Yeah.
Brandon screwed me up. I'm not
Butchered
going to tell you.
that.
I mean, it is what it is. All right,
Can we
so
actually
let's
talk
get into
about
the
this damn
review of
movie?
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's get into the review of this this film. Let's start. I think that the appropriate place to start is Stuck on the Freeway.
Which, if you were
because that's where
Californian, that's all you live on.
all great Los Angeles love stories start stuck in traffic.
Was it a love story? I don't know. Anyway, so what I want to go ahead and talk about is cinematographically, this movie, it takes it to another level with its production of the song and dance routines. I mean, I know that they're not all single shots, but damn it, they hide the cuts really, really well, and it makes look like this choreographed stage routine that we're watching. And granted, it's a musical, but at the same time, the movie's really not a musical. It's this weird hybrid of different styles and genres. I don't know. What do you guys think? Like, you know, my son was asking, like, "Oh, is it a musical?" And I said, "I don't really know. Like, yes, but it's not." What do you guys think?
I think it opens up in a bang. I mean, you're not really expecting like what you're going to see at the beginning of the film. You just see this person just like kind of slowly singing in her car, like, you know, we all do. Well, I do. And then
Ditto.
you're like, holy shit, did they really shut down the fucking freeway? I mean, everyone's like doing car flips and parkouring over where every fucking place. I mean, it really gets a hold of you right beginning of the film and whatnot, you know, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, God damn, there's like thousands of people doing this whole scene. And then I found out like half of that was CGI. I'm like, oh
yeah, but
fucking
still, it
movie
is
magic.
so well done, right? It's so well done, and the way it looks like
How many times are you on the freeway Yeah, how many times are you on the freeway in LA, and you can't talk about LA without not talking about traffic, but how many times are you on the freeway or just on the road and you happen to hear another person's car radio, and it kind of gets you like, you start almost like, what
Remember
station are they
when we
listening
used to
Because they're
listen to
rocking
radio
out, and I
stations
wanted to
and we
change,
would
you know,
like
you
you'd
start
match
singing.
up, you'd be next to somebody who was
Uh-huh.
listening to this. That was literally like
Oh, that is
Yes.
cool, you know?
kismet.
Yeah.
I mean, right now I only listen to the general podcast, guys, but if possible, you can
So
also listen to
one
radio.
of the things about musicals that I think has been lost over time is the grandiose nature of the opening like act, right? So like if you look back at something like we did The Sound of Music with Julie Andrews, and it's like it built to this first song that exploded off the screen, and I felt like this was Damien Chazelle's attempt to bring that kind of classic, iconic, golden Hollywood musical back to the screen. And so when it was this big production of, in this 1,000 backup dancers dancing on the freeway, singing, I thought that was I was really impressed by it, because it to me brought back what an opening scene in a musical used to be. And then what's really funny is right after this, I watched the new West Side Story with the Spielberg, and you could see that, like, I mean, that's not that old. That's only probably in the 60s, the original, but it's got the same flavor and feel where you have this first opening number it not only introduces the characters, but it introduces the tone, right? The tone of the musical. And for that, I thought he hit it out of the park. The only criticism I have is that I wish he'd hire people who could sing, and I won't harp on that.
Talk to that.
The whole time through, even in this one where I don't think Ryan and Emma sang in the opening number.
Mm-mm.
Even this one I thought was flat. It just didn't feel like a song. It felt like they were actually singing and dancing like in person live. And I like a little bit more production.
So they actually, and Jeremiah, correct me if I'm wrong, but they actually recorded at like live. They didn't do a sound recording. And I think,
from my understanding, that's correct.
I think that my first time watching it, I thought the same thing. I was like, Ryan and Emma were great acting. They're great characters. They're great to look at, but man, they can't sing, and it takes away. But then I watched it again, and I really think that it adds to it, because it's this idea of, I'm going to go back to that kind of that every person story. And this isn't about a singer or a dancer. This is about just people who, granted, they're in entertainment, they're in showbiz, but they're not in showbiz to be singers. One's a piano player and one's an actress. And it gives us this universality, maybe this idea that we are these characters and none of us can sing beautifully. And I think that, yeah, they could probably have sounded a lot better, especially coming from a former Mouseketeer and whatever the hell Emma Stone did before this, right? That they could have sounded a lot better if they had done a studio recording. But the fact that Chazelle chose to do this as a live recording, I really liked it. I thought it was good being unpolished.
I think it was natural, and I think it was actually organic how it was actually done, because if it was done by professional singers, then you wouldn't kind of get the whole gist of the movie, what it's about, and everything like that.
I think this movie talks a lot about growth also. So I think, I don't know if it's meant to happen that way, but I feel like as the movie grew, Sebastian, Ryan, and Emma, Mia and Sebastian, they got better in their trades as the beginning. So in the very beginning, they were, I think it's a little bit of that. Is like you saw growth in them, the characters, with their own talents.
Have any of you seen Tick Tick Boom, Andrew Garfield on Netflix?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
It's really wonderful, but it's the same kind of raw, stripped down, not overly produced musical, and it just if the audience wants to take a look at that movie, you'll see the difference between, in my opinion, someone who is like can sing versus someone who kind of tries to sing. Andrew Garfield in that, even though it's raw and stripped down the same way, you can hear he's got pipes. Like you can hear he's got a voice. And I'm not going to harp on this. Last time I'll say anything, but Ryan Gosling just doesn't. There's no emotion. It's just like this flat. Ugh.
So my opinion. No, and that's a good. And I literally have that as a note, because to me it was something that stood out negatively when I first saw it, and then it stood out to me positively when I saw it again. So, Sean, my question to you is, do you think it's just a thing of bad casting?
Yeah, I think Ryan Gosling. Well, first of all, I think Ryan Gosling is an incredibly overrated actor, but I also think that Ryan Gosling was not the right person for this part. I've seen now 5 or 6 movies of Ryan Gosling.
Remember
like First Man.
Remember the Titans. Come on now.
No, okay, so he was good in Remember the Titans. He was good in Crazy Stupid Love. He was okay in Gangster Squad. But at the end of the day, the last 4 or 5 movies he's made, he's kind of like a robot. And I'm not a huge fan
I
of
thought
that
First Man was
style
good.
performance.
Well, that's not fair because in Blade Runner he did kind of play a robot.
That one I actually didn't mind. No, but I don't think that he's charismatic.
I
think
agree that he's
beautiful.
overrated.
I just don't think he's charismatic.
Yeah.
I
I don't think he's overrated. I think he's an actor, and he actually learned the piano, and I feel like that was his trade. So in the piano, he was a boss. He was a G, and I don't think he was supposed to, I don't know. I mean, maybe it's a musical, so maybe he's supposed to be the singer. I think he learned piano for this movie, and that just shows you his talents. I think
he had like this whole kind of Fred Astaire type of way. He was just cool. He was dancing. He had this cool vibe and everything. I think he looked and sounded pretty dope. Basically, what the movie was all about is he wasn't supposed to be this, this opera singer or this talent of a singer or whatnot. I mean, he was just kind of as a vessel for Mia to get to where she needs to go, and including himself, actually.
I agree with you, Sean. I think that he is really overrated. I think he's probably one of our more overrated actors. I don't not like him, but I think that he gets a bigger pat on the back than maybe some of the times he deserves. That said, I do think that he played a lot of his portions of this film really, really well. I mean, I know I kind of joked about it earlier, but just that kind of, so we got that screwball comedy routine going on between, the bickering when they first meet, Mia and Sebastian. They basically kind of hate each other but love each other at the same time, and it's total classic screwball comedy from My Girl Friday and all that
1940s
stuff, right?
yeah,
Exactly.
his Girl Friday,
well, I'm taking her, she's mine. But at the same time, he plays it so well. Like the scene where she says, "I hate jazz," and you see this just like this panic in his eyes. I mean, it's supposed to be, in my opinion, it's supposed to be overplayed. It's supposed to be overacted. It's supposed to be overdone in his part because he's like so baffled that somebody could hate jazz when he loves it so much. But then you have those quiet moments of kind of that reflection when he's just playing the piano, especially at the end, and he looks over and sees Mia. And I tell you that, talk about the ability to communicate meaning without words and just images. And I do think that, we can pat Chazelle and we can pat the DP on this one forever. At the same time, I think that Gosling was able to kind of capture that, almost that lost puppy dog look. It's really, really well. I don't know how to kind of explain it, but I think that he does a really good job in what he's given with this role.
I think that one scene was at the second song called "The Lovely Night." No, the third song called "The Lovely Night."
Is it at the apartment?
What do you call it? No. It's actually, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's
It's the one where they're at the hilltop, right?
The hilltop.
Oh,
yeah,
yes. Like the classic. Yeah,
I think that right there. I mean, actually, I feel like that movie, that part right there, just kind of just elevated to a different level regarding to where this movie was going to go. I mean, it just had like this dream sequence, and just a fun fact. Just even talking about the movie, I mean, that shot was only shot like twice, like 30 minutes apart, or 30 minutes, 2 different days, one sunrise and one sunset, and you almost have like this dreamlike atmosphere. And I really thought that was kind of like an ode to like those grand scale of musicals of the classic Hollywood movies that that was kind of represented there.
And so Damien Chazelle, I think he has this vision, and one of the things that's brilliant and beautiful about this movie is that you take it from it's a very grounded and rooted movie. It's about 2 struggling performers, whatever you want to call them, in LA, a very common story. They fall in love, they go to all these parties where there's, more successful people and they're catching up and blah, blah, blah. But then you take it through the dance numbers and you transport this very mundane, normal couple, and you transport them into another world. And it shows you that their dreams are bigger than reality. They're bigger than life. Their love story is bigger than what they're making it out to be. And that to me is an homage in the planetarium to old time. Right. Yeah. You see it, I think, on the hill, but that's an homage to these old 1950s, 1940s glam Hollywood movies where they took a love story and they burgeoned it up. They made this beautiful, big love story. It's like, life's not like that. Life's not a love story, a cinematic love story. Life is kind of this movie. It's kind of,
oh, Sean, you said it
win
perfectly.
some, you lose some.
No, literally, you said it perfectly.
That's exactly what we just saw.
Yeah, and also, everyone, when you first go in a relationship,
It's that honeymoon
it's like
period
the
for
first
sure.
2 weeks are, like everyone, it's a honeymoon. Everyone thinks it's gonna be like the whole time, and this movie shed light a little bit into that. That's false. Like this movie made it seem like it was a little bit more real. As a musical, that's hard to do because musicals are all like upbeat or super sad, like one or the other. Like, and this, I don't know, I liked it. I felt like this movie still went along with a good story. That moment when I like the party. I like Emma Stone's character when she didn't, she has roommates and Sebastian's over here just, you know, playing Christmas songs at a bar, and he's like, I found laughter in his character, like doing something he didn't like to do, but he still did it because he needed to bring in income. And I don't know, I saw a lot of all of
Especially
us, Sebastian, at points in our lives.
I love their theme, that piano theme for Sebastian and Mia's theme. It's just no, it's not that thing. That's the City of Stars.
Yeah, the piano.
It's the piano theme, basically. It's kind of like she first hears it in the bar, and he's playing it just like this lovely piece, and it's like this, almost like this ghost setting, like kind of like a shadow light content when you think about it, and it just makes you think of that point. And when you see it at the end of the movie, is it that moment when your life is in front of you and you don't even know it, And what do you do on that part of that situation? I mean, it makes you think of like little situations like that.
Yeah.
Well, this movie constantly feathers in like old time Hollywood love story with like reality, and it's just push and pull. Like it's one of those weird dichotomies between, this is a meet cute. So if you go back to like His Girl Friday, or even further back to It Happened One Night, but the whole meet cute is they're in a hotel room together. She doesn't have any clothes. He only has a top and a bottom, so he gives her the top and he keeps the bottom, and that's the way they start their relationship. So you've got the same kind of meet cute in this restaurant where she hears him play the piano, ironically jazz, something she hates, and then all of a sudden they can't get each other out of their lives. Like they can't get each other out of their heads. She's at dinner or lunch with Finn Whitrock, and and she's like, I've got to go see him. It's almost like they're drawn together in a way that's magnetic.
She heard that. So she heard that song, and she found them. Yeah. But then he also found her at the coffee shop.
But then one of the other parts that I love is when he's playing in the cover, the 80s cover band, and he's just hating his life every single second. Obviously that's leading up.
Was it Run?
Was it Aha?
No, it was Run.
Was it Run?
Yeah, it was Run.
It was Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah. My Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah. So, but I love that because you see, that's granted, that's where they start, kind of the relationship starts to bud and blossom. And then that leads directly to the Mulholland Drive dance, or wherever we're going to call that. And by the way, I want to thank my grandma because this movie proved what my grandma was saying, which is always make sure you keep an extra spare tap shoes in your back pocket wherever you go. So thank you.
That's a great advice, actually.
But was it cool? But
that was cool.
Like, my God, they're just strapping on tap shoes. But what I love about it is it shows them literally like changing their shoes into tap shoes, like they're having this preconceived decision to go tap their life away, which fantastically beautiful and stupid at the same time. But what I love about this movie too, and Eddie, you were talking about it a minute ago, where you say that Sebastian is kind of just doing what he has to do to make ends meet. But it's that whole segment where he's with John Legend, and Sean, I agree with you. I am not a John Legend fan in any point, and literally one of my notes is just, man, I can't stand John Legend. But what we get here is when he's part of that really successful band, and you see that basically this is what he wanted. He wanted success. I know it's not exactly what he wanted, but he wanted success as a musician. And you see that he's just basically agreeing with it because this is all he feels like he's worth. And I just feel like that's something that so many of us people, not just, us four, so many of us people can really relate to, is this idea that we kind of sell ourselves short. And once we get to some level, even though it's not what we wanted, we just accept it and we just go along with it. And I think that this movie does something so well, which says, hey, you know what? You're better than that. So actually push. Even if you fail, don't just settle.
Fail hard.
I'm going to completely disagree with you in everything you just said.
You're wrong.
Because
I know that your title says the host, but you're wrong.
Here's my problem with the whole concept of the movie. So
Here it
he's
comes.
young. He has a dream. He has a dream of owning a bar or doing whatever he's going to do. He's got this dream that he's concocted in his mind. And this dream is of success and fame and wonder. And it's the same as her dream. She wants to be a famous actress. She sees that girl in the beginning of the movie at the Starbucks, and she wants to be this big actress. He wants to be this big successful bar owner, the chicken leg or whatever it's called. And as he chicken on the stick. And
Chicken
as he
stick.
progresses in his life and in his career, he has to realize that while his dream is great and wonderful and he's worthy of his dream, what he fell into was magnificent and amazing.
No.
And this is something. Stop. This is you talked. I didn't.
I'll give it
interrupt
to you.
Let
I'll give it
me
to you, and I'm
finish.
going to shut you up.
These
Yeah.
are the moments
let
that
me
you
next.
have to embrace and let define your life. When I hear this story all the time. It's the same story. You have a woman and a man get together and they're planning 5 years down the road to have kids, and oh shit, they get pregnant after the first year of marriage or right before marriage or whatever it is. And that whole moment defines the next 25 years of their life. And they couldn't be happier because they have a family or they have this or they have that. You cannot be so rigid in following your dreams because of this perceived value that you have in your mind that isn't real. Just because this is a great opportunity. He's touring with John freaking Legend.
Not in the
He's
story.
part
He's
of
a
a
completely
great
fictional
band
character.
doing amazing things. What I'm saying is he's be part of something absolutely fantastic. Ride it. Have fun with it. Make money at it. Be successful at it. Have a
But
family
that's all.
on
But
it.
that's
Like,
all
do
his life.
of
That's
that
all his
stuff.
life was, and that's what she realized. And they had that dinner.
For 5
that
years.
Eddie,
For
take him
5
down.
years.
Eddie, take him down.
Jeremiah.
No,
Jeremiah. I want Jeremiah because
No,
he
no,
has
no.
experience with this. So I know Jeremiah has experience.
You're
with this.
saying
He
this
was
is that that he was enjoying the moment. No, he sold out in a lot of ways. He did everything exactly that he never wanted to do. He wasn't trying to be big or famous. He was trying to
Bring jazz back.
bring jazz back. He was trying to like hold this old legacy about what it is, and to the point where what this situation was not going to get him to where he is. So a lot of ways, he lost himself in the moment because, he felt like this is what he needed to do. But in the same time, he lost himself,
He was
for
doing
the dream.
anti-jazz. Literally, what that was like pop anti-jazz.
So there was that one line that John Legend said at the bar to Ryan Gosling. Said, "Or how are you going to be a revolutionary if you're such a traditionalist? Like no one's in here. Like these are all old men. Old men listen
And
to
Sean.
jazz. Like we need to liven up, right? So
No, that's
I
exactly
feel
right.
But I'm trying to say is, so Ryan Gosling wanted to still do that. He wanted old man style, but he had a different idea than what John Legend was thinking. He chose John Legend's path because he wanted to bring stability to Emma Stone. He thought this was the right path not because he was lucky to have it. It's just he just did it because he thought this was it. Like Emma needs me to have a job. This is my job. This is what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
So many people do those decisions for love. They cut their dreams a little short, and they do.
And then
all
it
that
just
stuff.
ended up
Opens up other
backfiring on him,
doors. But
Sorry.
I wasn't done yet. It's okay. But he took it all wrong because Emma Stone actually said, "I didn't tell you to do this. Like you read everything wrong. I never told you to give up your dream." Emma Stone even said, like, "I didn't know you'd like that type of music." And Ryan Gosling was like, well, "Don't you like it? I did this for you." And Emma was like, "Don't like you read it all wrong, Sebastian. I didn't tell you to give up your dreams." So, but he read it wrong what Emma was giving him. I feel like so it provided money on the table, but it separated.
They would have stayed
because of that,
together.
it
They would have
separated
stayed
the
together.
and it killed the
If
relationship.
it hadn't been.
First of all, you don't know that, but
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
you don't
Well,
know
actually,
that, but
you do know that because you see the
No.
alternate universe and whatnot. That situation when he comes up to her or comes up
it's
to
not-
Ryan, he
you don't
shoots
know
him
what
away
that
and
was.
everything like that.
Okay.
Alternate
Anyway,
universe.
He did on John
he
Legend.
denied
He
John
actually got
Legend,
away
too.
from the
He said,
distraction
yeah.
of like
and
the
he,
sight of
and
what
by
he
the
was
way,
looking for.
in that future, he would not have gotten his bar. So, I mean, I don't exactly know where the. Okay, so
But he had
and
the
this
girl.
is my point.
And a happiness.
Is that if
it.
you change your perspective, on that you say selling out. I don't know how playing with a huge band is selling out
It's literally
because
the-
you can always open a
that's the
club. You can
definition of
always, which he
selling
did, by the way. No, that's I don't. How is that selling out? If your point in life is not to be a classical jazz musician to play at Carnegie Hall, and you want to own a bar, and by going and working with John Legend and working for so long, then you can open your bar. How is that selling out?
It's not because he's not into music like that. That's the thing, he's just playing it.
It was a means to an end.
He did think this was his only way.
And at the end of the day, he got Sebs. He got his bar. He got his dream.
No.
Stop, Brandon. You're wrong. Hold on. Stop. Just hold on. He got his dream. His dream was to open Sebs. By sacrificing to get Sebs, he lost the girl. That's exactly what happened in the movie. That's exactly what happened.
No, they both get their
name
dream.
that she actually created.
Yeah.
No. What I'm saying is, instead of choosing dream over woman or choosing sellout, as you say, over dream, what you have to do is you have to discuss it and talk and use the steps that you have to get your mutual goals. And you have to change your goals because there has to be a hybrid between owning a club and having the girl. There has to be a hybrid because your dream is not what you think it is.
No, Sean,
his dream was to open the club. His real dream should have been to have Emma Stone by his side while he opens.
Listen, I agree. I agree 100%. So, Sean, listen, I agree 100% with what you're saying. They both succeed in the goals that they set for themselves at the beginning of the movie. They both succeed at that.
Correct.
But here's the thing: you're saying that dreams have to have adaptability, right? You have to be able to adapt.
I'm saying you actually don't know what your dreams are. So you have to adapt.
But here's the thing. We have to, in La La Land world, we have to accept for the necessity of the dream life. Okay? Because that's what this whole movie is about. It's about achieving your dream life. They both achieve their dream life at the beginning of the movie. But once they meet, you're right. Their dreams have changed, but there is still a singular dream. Okay, their singular dream is to succeed.
I get a different message from this movie.
Succeed with each other by each other's hands.
So I'm a little bit close with both of you. So I took it as the dream could also be a curse. Like, they realize, you ever see like, if you have three wishes with a genie's bottle, and it always somehow turns out bad. Like the dream, his dream happened. It came true, but realizing both of their dreams came true. But you saw this little sadness in both of them. Like shit.
It's the what? Like but here's what I love.
Our dream wasn't part of our dream.
It wasn't our dream. It was But here's
it wasn't. It was each other's dream, and it didn't mix with each other.
Here's the difference between Jeremiah and Brandon and me. When I watched the end of the movie, I wasn't sad for them. Because they got what they really wanted. She wanted to be a famous actress. He wanted to own Sebs. And what that last little bit of the movie where it showed their other possible future was what that would have taken is for each of them to forego or give up part of their dream to be together. And this is a priorities movie. I think at the end of the day, it is. You have to be able to give up part of who you think you want to be for who you actually are.
Well,
I don't think you have to. It shows
you can't have both lives. I mean, definitely you can't have both lives, and that's what this movie's about. So you're right. It is about priorities. At the same time, I do look at this as there is a longing to have had that other life, right? It's that idea that the grass is always greener on the other side. And you're right. When they finish the movie, they're happy and content, right? She's in a loving relationship. She has a great family. She's got her dream job. He's got his dream club. He's happy. I love that they end and they're friends. Like they're not friends, but they don't, there's no animosity. There's support and there's love, right? He sees her on the big billboard right next to his club. There's this idea of respect and support, even though they don't say it to each other. Like, I love that. But at the same time, it is this idea of what is more important. And I think this is to each one of us as the viewers to answer is what's more important, the personal human side or the successful kind of out in public side, right? Jeremy, yeah.
No, I was just watching the ending of this movie, right? And me and Hannah, and we literally had a 2-hour discussion about the fucking ending of this movie and everything like that. She sees that in a way as it's a happy ending, like what Sean's saying, them seeing each other, seeing how they become like successful in their life, right? Because without them, they would have been eaten up by Hollywood, right? Two people needed each other, very important to each other, by helping each other's, finding one another's their dreams, and putting their past where they're at. I saw it in a way, sometimes we lose ourselves in a dream, in a fantasy, and that sometimes we lose sight what's in front of us, and that can just be important than that dream. This movie is going to have that one weird situation where it's like it's going to be either like two people are going to be thinking about this version or this version. But you're right. In the end, they ended up being successful, and sometimes you need people in your life to help you get to that goal, and sometimes they're very important in your lives. In the end, they found their ways, but is there a little regret into that? That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. Is that regrets, right? So, and this is what I think at the end of the movie kind of gives you is, does Emma Stone regret not staying with Sebastian? I don't think so. I think she likes her family. I think she likes her child. I think she likes her job. Now, does that choice have a little bit of repercussion? Yeah, but it doesn't have to be like regret. It can just be a little like, I look at, like Eddie was talking about his dream. I want to go back to that because it's really important. Brandon, I know that our dream was to go to Hollywood, to be directors and writers and to make movies and to do this stuff. We've been waylaid by reality, practicality, and family. That doesn't make me regret not going back to school for film and doing all that. It just means that I've made a choice and I'm living with my repercussions. Now, happily, I think our repercussions are more positive than what we could have done.
But I think that
Eddie, what was your dream?
I mean, it's hard. I think that's what makes this movie makes it actually special, because there's so many different ways you could take this movie, and there's battles over it. I feel like though the way I saw the movie for myself was, everyone has different dreams, obviously, right? So different dreams, and it's just sometimes you see. I mean, I thought the end of the movie, that would have been my dream of. The way it ended, that would have been my dream instead of this dream here. Like, so some people have a dream to be, their dream is to be having a house, be the dad, and have kids in the full house. That is their dream. Some people have a dream of being a lawyer. Some people have a dream of being an author or a musician, or everyone has different dreams. So it's just a matter of what the dream is. So this guy, his dream wasn't to be with, to have that lifestyle. I think he saw it at a glimpse in his eye, and he's like, he didn't. I don't think it was regret. Like, he did, like, think in his head, like, that would have been a good choice too. Like, both choices would have been good. And sometimes I feel like we come across so many different forks in our lives and so many different people in our lives that, can you imagine? Like, you guys are my best friends and my brother. Like, I'm so close to all of you. And there's so many other moments in my life that it could have went different if I would have chosen a different path. If I would have been late too many times. If you guys would have dropped me as a friend. If I would have stayed with a different girl, so many different choices here led up to us where we're at now. So I'm happy where my life is now. So no one gets to know, we can never see that other style of the other drafts. This was the only time you could ever see it in the movie. But in reality, we're never going to get to see what could have been with the roads. So we never think about that. We never know. I just know my dream overall was very smaller, and I accomplished that dream with with what I wanted, with being a dad and husband.
No, I agree with you, man. Like, sometimes you just have this, like, I had this path, like, I wanted to do something, and you were so close, and like, I was so close to that dream, but I honestly wouldn't change not even a second of it, because I've never been so happy, and it's just something where it makes me think, like, it was always meant for me to be in this particular spot when this was going to happen and everything like that, Mm-hmm. And I think there's people in your life that really helps you to get to this goal. Sean is probably, one of the guys that changed my life. And he came out of left field.
Oh,
but when you think about it, like, when Hannah came along and everything like that, it's just like,
yeah, everything
just lined up. But it was a ticket, right? If I would have not gone to that show, what the fuck would have happened? You know what I'm saying? That's just crazy, dude.
That's beautiful, and thank you. Let me paint you another different picture, though, Jeremy. I wanted to be a lawyer, dreamt of being a lawyer, dreamt of going into the law, went to law school, passed the bar, became a lawyer. I've spent 10 years doing everything I can not to be a lawyer.
Right.
I'm telling you right now, I fucking hate it. It's terrible.
But that's
which is, you're so badass.
So that's what I want to hit on,
the
though.
other side, right? That's it.
So no, but that's something I want to hit on, and I do think that I know no, Sean, you're gonna roll your eyes at me, but we hear this word regret, right?
My one eye.
Yes, true, one eye, because there's 7 of us. We hear this word regret, right? And I think that we automatically associate it with just super negativity, right? If you regret a decision that you made, or you regret a decision that you didn't make, then it means that you wish that nothing else had happened, that all the other things that you did end up doing didn't happen. And I regret a ton of decisions. Does it mean that I wish that my life now wasn't what it was? No, it doesn't mean that at all. But it does mean that I regret. Yeah, I regret not going to film school. I regret not doing this. I regret not doing that. I think about it all the time. It doesn't mean that it changes how I look at my family. It doesn't mean that it changes how I look at my job now, my friends. But what it means is that something in my life that didn't work out still to this day means something. And I wish that I could have explored it. And to me, that's regret. But I think that regret is such an important thing for us to have. I think that we need to stop as a society. We're running away from the word regret, and to absolutely embrace what we regret, but at the same time embrace the decisions that we did make to get us to where we're at.
So maybe remove the negative connotation.
Yeah, remove the negative connotation. And I think that that's what this movie tackles, and it does it so well. Now, as you guys were talking, all I could think about is how would we, I just want to throw this hypothetical out there, how would we look at this movie and the same conversation that we're having if one of them became successful and the other one didn't? Could be either one, right? Would we be looking at the idea of regret as a negative, or would we still be looking at it and saying, they made their choices, one of them worked out, one of them didn't work out? What do you think? Would you look at it differently?
I think it gave us an idea of a glimpse of what would have happened if that was going to happen. You see Ryan Gosling in the alter reality where he was just going to be there for Emma Stone. He chose Emma Stone rather than doing his own dream and everything like that. And you kind of get a glimpse of it when you think about it. He chose her to be stuck by, not to stick by her, the family, the children, and everything like that. And then it all comes back full circle when it's actually back to reality, and it switches to that dream I guess they once had, but, and I think the last 10 minutes of the movie is fucking magic, when you think about it.
I agree, but then we're associating.
I think that's you.
But I was gonna say we're associating though that last dream as being from Sebastian's point of view. It could be Mia's point of view.
I think it's both of. It could be both of their point of view. I mean, because he's playing the song, and it just switches it. It switches from her to actually to that moment where their paths could have gone something differently. Who's to say, Yeah.
I kind of feel like it's an extension of the dream world, like it's an extension of the scene in Mulholland Drive, or the scene in the Griffith Observatory. Like it's part of that world. That what could have been the perfect, magic world.
If life
That's
was
a good point too, man. I mean,
a Hollywood musical, right?
Right.
And you're right. No, I love that planetarium sequence,
Oh yeah.
To me, it's just like you see that moment where they're all wrapped up and they have like this feeling inside. You see this connection that they're away from this other world and whatnot. I think that's some of the dance sequence in this movie is like some of the favorite things I've seen in a very long time. It's so fucking good. I mean, what do you guys think of it?
I think every time I see Griffith Observatory,
fantastic.
It makes me happy. And I think the dancing
and you wonder why the hell we didn't go more.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we live like what, an hour and a half from there?
Mm-hmm.
You want to know something really fucking sad about that? I've been there a couple times, and I've only gone to myself, always hoping that I can actually go with like my future or something like that. I'm trying to get Han to go with me.
Han, I know you listen to this, so fucking just take him. Just go. It's so awesome.
The traffic though, the traffic is just
birthday's coming up.
Was that Chinatown? Was that Chinatown too? Was that Chinatown the lift? Was that I don't know in LA. Was that Chinatown? There was a lift that they did singing.
I know what you're talking about. I don't know where that's at. I don't know where that's at.
What was that like? Mm-hmm. Where is that at? That's in LA somewhere, but it's like a lift they did, and it was cool. I wanted to see that.
I think what this movie kind of successfully does, though, at the end of the day, is it tells a very simple story, which I do think, Brandon, you said, is it a love story? I think it is. I think this movie is a love story, and it's a love story between two people with goals and dreams that chose their goals and dreams over each other. And I think that's that is what happens most of the time, because the people who are dreaming and have goals are young, and they have time to play out their dreams and goals.
They're young.
Yeah,
Right.
5 years
But
later,
they're
it
young, and
happened.
they're
So
also, and
is
this
when
is
they're young.
again not negative. I know it's a negative word, but we shouldn't be necessarily putting. They're self-centered, right? They're worried about themselves because they want to
Well, of
achieve
course,
something,
yeah.
right? And I do think that to be in a good relationship, if anybody's in a good relationship, you can't be completely self-centered. You have to constantly be thinking about and worrying about the
Yeah.
other person's happiness. And the
Yeah.
reality is, they just didn't enough. Right, they did, because you see that
But
when,
it's all sorts-
Sebastian
it's-
drives out to Arizona or Nevada or whatever it is, right? You see it, but they just don't care
Nevada.
enough. Sean,
but
Mhm.
it's all sorts of relationships, not just romantic
No, no,
relationships.
exactly, yeah.
When Eddie started, Eddie, were you the first to have kids, or was Brandon the first to have kids?
he beat me by
Brandon was the first
10
to have
days.
No.
10 days.
I was.
So
I beat him
so
by,
I
I beat
remember
him by 10 days.
coming out of high school.
10 days.
I had a friend who got pregnant right out of high school and started having, kids and a family, and it was great for him and wonderful. But I kind of divorced. Like, I was like, all right, I'm going to go to college. I'm going to have fun. I'm going to go do my own thing. And it was kind of a selfish decision to prioritize me. I remember when you and Brandon had kids for the first time, I was like, okay, this is my chance to change that methodology. I know that you guys are going to be home more. I know that you're not going to be able to go out on Friday night, and you're not going to be able to go have fun like we used to go have fun. So I need to change, and I need to go make that a different priority. And I think that that's what preserved the relationship in those times when you have the young kids, is like, you got to go out to see them. They can't come out to see you. It's the same thing in a relationship. You just have to come to that realization that the group is more important than the individual. Having beers on your back porch is just as fun as going to the bar.
Yeah.
Like that, you just have to come to that realization.
Hashtag Chipotle. I agree.
Yeah.
Hashtag
I like it.
Chipotle.
So
If you want to go ahead and
Hashtag,
sponsor us, we
Beagles.
would love a sponsorship from Chipotle.
So I really enjoyed the moment where they had their fight and they broke up, right? And he surprised her. He came in town just for the night, and he surprised her. He made dinner for her, and how bad that turned out. But it showed authenticity
It's a tough one.
of real life stuff. But yeah, thank you. But it showed something that happens, and something he was trying to do something nice and just surprise her, and it turned so fast. But then you started seeing the writing. I think they both started seeing the writing on the wall that it something happened, that they're meant to be friends. And you saw that. I felt like I saw that when he got the phone call for Mia, right, the next day, and he pretty much like, oh, she doesn't live here anymore, and then instantly, oh, this is a casting call. And he got up and he's like,
my
you know what?
God, the fact that he
doing
remembered
this. I'm still,
that she lived across from the library, just that little moment is beautiful.
Yeah. So they had this respect for each other, and yeah, it was very beautiful. I love to see it, because you realize relationships, they come and go, but the friendships, they last forever. And their friendship still, it was still there. Like what made them special was the friendship first, before the boyfriend girlfriend thing. It was a friendship, and he was looking for the best for
That's a
her,
good
and
point
she
right
was
there.
looking for the best for him. And if it was together, if it was together, awesome. But realistically, they both had goals, and they knew that going into this, and it was sad.
Yeah.
I love that
the
last song of the movie, the audition. Here's to fools, here's to the fools who dream and whatnot. I think that part
beautiful.
was really raw, and I remember watching it, and I was like looking at him like, you have that moment where you all talk about the last couple of films, like, oh, that person pretty much won an Oscar for that part. I feel like Emma like pretty much won an Oscar for that part right there. It was just like so in your face, and just so like, yeah, it was not a great tune or anything like that, but right there and then, she was raw, she was vulnerable, and dude, that part was pretty hardcore.
I love the phone call,
read
the
that
audition. That literally, I remember watching that in the theater and thinking,
No, that's what he's talking about.
was it?
No, that was
that's
the last
phone.
one.
Yeah,
That was the last one.
Not to tell me a story about France, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sean.
So, because I read, she sang that, right? Kind of without music. She kind of sang it a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Something
So
like
I read
yeah.
that she had an earpiece, and Damien Chazelle played the piano so that she could have a tune in her
Nice.
head to sing it to. And it's like, when you're right, Jeremiah, when you look at like Christian Bale, Fighter, he won in one scene, won an Academy Award. I do feel like she had that moment. And you don't, as an actor, I don't think that you have the opportunity to have that many moments. She just took full advantage of it. It was just beautiful scene.
It was, and I also think about too, like the ending part of it. I think that last 10 minutes was like fucking great. It does something absolutely that you're not expecting.
I actually saw that last scene twice because it happened so fast, and I was with my family here. I had to rewatch it today. So I was like, what happened the last 20 minutes? I didn't give it my attention. So watching it the second time, I was like, holy crap, that was pretty, that was intense. It was deep. After that conversation, I think they had the conversation exactly where they also started dating a little bit at the hilltop, I think, right? They had a goodbye, hey, you're going to Paris, you're doing this. And
which I agree, by the way. If you're doing something, you can't, like, he was right. You can't half-ass it. You got to put 100% to it, I think he already kind of knew what was going to happen and everything like that regarding to what she was going to do. But that last part, that last scene, what I love about that part is that there's no words at all. You just see the feeling. You get a sense of happiness. You get a sense of maybe even a little closure from both of them, that nod and that smile between them,
So it reminded me, and Brandon, you can attest to this. One of the greatest final scenes of a television show was from a show called Scrubs.
I knew you were going to talk about that.
And and this was the real ending to Scrubs, not when they went off to make the other Scrubs bullshit. This was the actual, like, what was it, season 10 or season 9 ending?
Season 8, yeah.
At the end of Scrubs, you have, spoiler alert if you haven't watched it, go watch the show, it's great. You have this, like, flash forward movie of their life together and what it was going to be like. And you got this, like, really nice summation of a show.
Perfect hypothetical,
and this is kind of what this movie did, is it gave you the best of both worlds. It gave you what could have been and what is. And you have to kind of decide for yourself which one is better, because at first blush, I was like, well, obviously Together is better. But then you kind of go, well, they both kind of got what they really wanted. That he got his bar, she got her career. They got their perfect endings both ways. So
and that's how when you rewatch this, like, what I'm saying, it's like you see
so
it
much better the second
I didn't
time.
see it at first when I first saw this. I just, like, you saw right here and you're just like, maybe I'm all grown up. Who's to say? I still like fart dick jokes, but seriously, like, you just fucking get it. I'm like, it's that fucking moment.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the end of review. Now it's time in the podcast where each of the hosts provides a score of the following scale. Brother, can you please provide the scale?
Yes, I can. I can do it better this time, because last time my phone died sometime around.
He just disappeared. I was like, oh shit.
All right, so 0, the perfect movie. You don't need shit to enjoy it. 1, a feel-good first cocktail. 2, a happy buzz. 3, you're going to Uber or lifting home. 4, a rough morning walk of shame. And 5, blacked out, shit-faced, spring break drunk. Gentlemen, let's start with...
I don't know. I always change the...
Sean went first last time, actually, with the Batman.
Yeah, I would love to take this one.
Okay,
so
Brandon.
I know that I'm going to get some pushback from Sean. So this is a movie, I mentioned it earlier, that I've only seen twice. And the first time I saw it, I was severely disappointed because I wanted this happy love story, which, again, if you know me, it's not necessarily my cup of tea to go to is the happy love story. But I wanted it because I liked the character so much. And so I literally walked away from the movie angry. And so when it first got announced by Warren Beatty that it won Best Picture, I literally looked at my wife and I was like, oh my God, why? And then Moonlight ended up winning. And I was all for that at that point. Then watching it again, though, it was a completely brand new experience. And it's because I knew that the ending was coming and I knew that I was prepared for it. And Sean, you've mentioned this about me and you many, many times on this podcast. This is not new news to anybody, but I desperately, from the time I was about 11 years old, wanted to make movies. That's what I wanted to do. And life happens and you move on and you have family and you have careers and you have happinesses and joys. And in the back of your mind, you always have that one thing that you wish you had done. And every once in a while, you have a reminder of how much you love something and how much you wish that you could do something that you wanted to do when you were a kid. And I haven't had that moment for a long time until I watched fucking La La Land a week and a half ago. And I walked away from this movie and I said, this right here is why I absolutely adore movies. This is why I live for stories. This is why I wanted to be a filmmaker. Not something I ever thought I'd say on a first time around with this movie, but on the second time, this is what movies are. They transport you, which, Sean, I know that you're all about, and they make you feel, which is what I'm all about. And to me, this was legitimately one of the most enjoyable, one of the most heartbreaking, one of the most exciting viewing experiences I've had in a really long time. And so I'm giving this one a quarter. I am giving this one a 0.25. I think that this movie is nearly perfect. I love the bad singing voices. I love the beautiful cinematography. I love the dancing and the song numbers. I'm giving 0.25. And
0.25?
and
I love it.
Jared, I'm going to go to you because I think you and I probably are two of the ones that, well, we've seen it before. So Jeremiah, what do you think?
Oh, just like you, man. Like, seriously, when I first saw this movie, I didn't want to see it again. Like, I had no intentions to see it, and I'm fucking excited that I saw it again because I saw a whole different movie. Maybe just I have a whole different perspective and everything like that, I have to say that City of Stars is probably one of the best, like, theme songs, for, like, just motion picture by itself. I mean, I think that's fits this movie so well, I think we all felt that in our lives, like, you hope, but your dreams sometimes can be out of reach. But then again, sometimes the dreams can be distracting and everything like that. But when it comes down to this, La La Land is an absolutely beautiful film when you think about it. It's a beautiful movie to watch. The music, the scenes, the dances. I mean, I feel like I don't know too much of the old school Hollywood like musicals like Sean has a lot of, background in and whatnot. But I feel like this is a nod to those old Hollywood movies and musicals that you just don't see so much. It's a movie that it's going to leave its mark, no matter what, because it does the unexpected, and that's something now that I appreciate it. I think the casts were amazing, and I think they're going to live on forever for many generations to come. It's going to be that type of a film. I'm sure people will talk about the ending is going to divide viewers and whatnot, but in the end of the day, La La Land is not a romantic movie, but it's a movie about two characters just to achieve their dreams in La La Land, and I think took me just a couple years to figure that one out. And I fucking love that. So for me, this is a easily one drink for me.
Well said, Jar. And by the way, City of Stars, Oscar-winning song. So, I mean, I know we don't always agree with
It's
the
fucking
Oscars.
good,
but
man.
I think this won
really,
like 8 Oscars. I mean,
this
it was
one
not,
did a really big
Yeah.
job, yeah.
Hey, do you want me to go and then you can finish this out? Okay, I'll go.
It's up to you. I don't care.
So I went into this movie kind of with high expectations. I know it had been nominated for a bunch of Academy Awards. It had won some, and usually when you have the Academy, I don't like what the Academy represents, and I don't like what they nominate. I think that they just
agree.
kind of overlook great performances because they don't fit into their box, right?
Favoritism.
Emma Stone, to me, is a very underrated actress. She's also not like an overtly Hollywood actress. She's not a 10 beautiful. She's quirky and funny and very pretty, and to me her personality adds to her beauty, making her a 10. It's kind of, and I know that sounds like a slap in the face. It's not. She's just, she's not exactly what I would picture as this beautiful, leading lady. She's quirky and fun and has that little raspy voice. And to me, all of those qualities make her so attractive in this role and overall as an actress. It's kind of, I'm not being very clear, but
Starstruck.
She to me was shone in this movie in a way that she hasn't in other roles, and it was because she just embodied her character so much, and I thought she was just beautiful in her performance. Ryan Gosling to me is very wooden and not really, we've gone over that. I'm not going to rehash it. What I thought this movie did beautifully from the beginning to the end was tell a story with a meandering musical score that really by the time you got to the end, Jeremy's right. When he sat down and played that piece, you felt and remembered the whole movie. you felt and remembered their love story. You felt and remembered the goods and the bads, and it was the summation, a 10-minute summation of your life and their life, and it gave you a moment to do what I think this movie succeeded at, was reflect. And you reflected not on the characters' decisions, but on your own decisions.
Yeah.
And you got to this point where you're like, man, did they make the right decision? Did I make the right decision? Do I regret my path? But at the end of the day, you got this beautiful end where both you got to see what could have happened and what did happen, and that both ends were the right end, were the good end. They both got what they wanted and they both didn't get what they wanted. And it's okay either way, because it's really kind of not about what you get. It's about what you think you get. Anyway, I thought the movie was kind of a mindfucky, brilliant, weird musical homage to old time Hollywood. So I don't know how to explain it more clear than that. So to me, this movie is a 1. If they had hired actors that could have sung, I would have been where you are, Brandon. Give me Andrew Garfield. Give me someone who can fucking sing, and I would have been very happy.
Dang proud.
That's
right
not
now.
fair. Andrew Garfield is a fucking is a tree. Come on,
Eddie,
dude.
if you give this a
So
4,
I thought this movie was absolutely brilliant. So it's a 1. Eddie, take us home.
Good job, Sean.
It takes 2 to tango, Sean. So it's not
Yeah,
just Emma
bro.
Stone here, okay?
Seriously.
I mean, but yeah. So I mean, Ryan Gosling got something going on too. And you know, everyone, has he done not the best movies?
Oh,
The Choice,
God.
Drive is a fucking classic.
Don't.
She said nothing for 2 hours.
So, but we can say something about Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone together, can we not?
Fuck yeah.
They have chemistry, and their chemistry is like, people sometimes like, hey, you guys should just end up with each other because it's there, like it's obvious, but it won't work because they're very friends. They've been friends from the very beginning, and I think that's what makes this so authentic between them two, is that they actually might have lived this life that this movie had together. Like they grew up fighting for the same, like, the roles, and they just, they lived this life, and they never got to have the love story. Instead, they chose the career. So they actually had some history to this movie, I felt like. So for some reason, when I see this movie, I think of a picture, and I see it all the time. And I don't know if you guys are gonna like it or agree with me, but it's a little girl, and she's holding the bear, and she's holding it, and God or Jesus is on one side, and he has a bigger bear behind his back, right? And it has his hands out, says, "Just trust me," right? And the little girl says, "But I love it, God," and she's holding the bear, and Jesus is holding the bigger bear behind his back, and this, like, give it to me, like, trust me, you have to have faith. And this movie, they had each other for this, and I know there's a love story. They fell in love while they were trying to find their path, but they had each other for a reason in their lives. And sometimes it's not meant to be with each other at the very end of the movie. It's meant to get to point A to point D, and they were just B and C in the middle of it. So that happens. I am where I am now because of my past. And Brandon, I loved what you said. Deep down inside, there's a part of you, though, when something just hits you home with, you're like, ah. And for me personally, and I wasn't going to say this, and you guys might think it's funny, but for me, it was being a baseball player. Like, that was my thing. So every time I step on the field for softball with Sean, I'm going all out. I'm going out until my Achilles breaks or my knee pops, because I still feel like it's the only time I get to go all out. I was robbed of my last good innings in my 20s. So I was like, you know what? I'm going all out here. But I get it every Wednesday. I get to play with Sean, and then I step off the field and I come back home. It's almost like I have that dream of, like, oh, what would have happened if I kept playing baseball the right way? I've ended up going to CBU, or would have went somewhere else. I don't know. But then I get to come home and I get to see my real life with, my friends and my wife, my beautiful wife, and my 3 children. So it's just like, I wouldn't have traded in for the world. Like, I'm happy I'm not a baseball player, but I get a little glimpse of it every so often. So I personally give this movie 0.75. The only thing that lacks for me, I don't think it's I think it's one of the best musicals I've ever seen, but it's a 0.75 for me. So it's a little over a half a shot and below a full drink. That's why I give it, and I feel like it's for me. It's one of the
just
best
look at the
musicals
conversation
I've
sparked
seen
within
recently.
us, like just here today. Like,
Well,
I mean, it's good. Sean, go ahead.
Well, Brandon is calculating the score. Eddie, I want you to just do this and think about this. Emma Stone and the should they not relationship is not with Ryan Gosling. It's with fucking Andrew Garfield, and you need to watch that. That it's happened. They should have ended up together. It's a fucking tragedy they didn't. You know what I'm talking about. All right. When we combine those scores and divide by 4, what does La La Land give us a rating of, Mr. Eddie?
It gives us a
0.75.
Fuck. I've got to redo the whole damn website.
Yeah.
Jeremiah, what does that give us? Where does that put us on the list?
It's tied on number 8 spot here with Home Alone, actually, right between Remember the Titans and Gladiator.
Okay.
0.75. So it is the second musical in our top 10 list, actually.
What's in our, so it's The Sound of Music then?
Sound of Music is number 1, actually, but yeah, it's their second.
Thank God.
Oh,
So
dude,
yeah.
it killed
Thank
Grease.
It beat The
It
Greatest
killed all
Showman.
the other
Greatest
ones,
Showman
and The
was
Greatest
literally
Showman,
the
Greatest
and
it beat Greatest
everything.
Showman. Okay. And Moulin
Well, let's
Rouge.
not
What was
talk
Moulin
about
Rouge?
that,
What about The
It's
Great
okay.
Gatsby?
I can only tell you what actor would have made
0.75.
this movie less than a 0.75. Do you know what it is, Brandon?
I'm gonna go off of he's a little bit older, but I think Brian Cox would have pulled this shit off.
All right, Jeremiah, what movie do we have next week? I think it's our third entry into our 2010s, which is our last section of season 3.
Yeah, so it's going to either be a toss-up between my film or actually Brandon's film.
So what do we?
So
Who do we want to do
have
right
a lot
now?
of movies coming up.
What do we want to do? Eddie, you make a decision. Jer or me?
Well, Jeremy, is yours?
It's going to be a fan's choice. So
or-
when you listen to this episode, you're going to
This
have a
is
chance to
Brandon.
choose my film. So there will be a post
sorry.
on our
It gives us an
Instagram.
extra.
Yeah, so let's do
little bit of time.
Brandon. Let's do Brandon, so we have some time. It gives us some time to do
Okay.
Jeremiah's choice. So let's do Brandon's.
After we end this episode, you're going to listen to a trailer of what film that might be. How about
Ooh,
that?
I like that.
You like that?
How's that going to be?
No,
Is that a
Eddie.
trailer?
No,
That's-
Eddie, it's the
Trailer.
fucking movie trailer.
I don't know. Like afterwards, like, hey, here's the trailer, guys.
I got to do little edits. I got to do little edits here first. Then I can
Eddie,
do it.
good thing you're pretty.
Oh,
All right.
God.
If you enjoyed our review or a fan of the podcast,
He didn't say movie
we ask
trailer,
that you
guys.
please
He didn't say movie
subscribe wherever you're listening. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. You can find us on Instagram at the.gentleman podcast. The dot means a lot.
That means a lot.
You can visit our website at the Gentleman Podcast.
Too much yellow water.
And we would love to hear from you at by email at hosts with an S, HOSTS at thegentlemanpodcast.com. We thank you so much for listening as we close out our season 3. Make this drink because it's fucking incredible.
Make this drink.
It's fucking
worth
sloppy.
It. It's St. Patty's Day.
St. Patty's Day was like
Is it
2 weeks
past?
ago,
Not
but yeah,
past
good
St.
job,
Patty's
Ed.
When did we record this?
Yeah, no. Well, I don't want to interrupt. you.
When?
Maybe-
All right, well, cheers, gentlemen, and we'll see you in 2 weeks, and thank you all for listening.
Cheers, gentlemen.
I say this all the time, but I actually mean it this time.
All right, guys.
This was a really good one. This was a really good one.
Not too shabby, huh? Look at this! And you guys were worried. Didn't I tell you it'd look great, huh? Oh, Buzz, where the heck have you been?
Sorry, Woody. I've been up all night working on a little something.
Hey, wow! that's quality craftsmanship.
Oh, it's nothing, really. Your basic vacuum formed polycarbonate with a high gloss sealer to bring out the shine.
Hey!
At least ours lit up.
Oh.
Well, that's just great. Ah, no!
Ah, come on, Woody. You do it.